On this week's NESN Patriots podcast, we will discuss realistic expectations for New England's defense and their Week 6 matchup with the Chiefs, and recap Week 5's win over the Colts. Hello and welcome to the NESN Patriots podcast. I'm Doug Kai, joined as always by Zach Cox. Zach, how are you doing?
Doing well, Doug. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. We are recording this from the Mike Reese studio at the Patriots media workroom. That's really all I got.
We were just talking off air that it's only been 5 days since the Patriots played the Colts. It feels like 3.5 weeks ago. These Thursday games are really strange.
Yeah, I was kind of putting together an outline on this week's podcast. And I was almost kind of forgetting what happened in the Colts game. I was like, what? Because I put together, what did we learn? I was like, what did we learn in that game? But, yeah, let's get into the Colts game a little bit. It is odd because that game was Thursday night. It's Tuesday now. Usually games obviously are played on Sunday, and we record this on Wednesday. So it does add a day or two of remembering what the hell happened in the game for us. But I thought kind of the big checkpoints there for the game against the Colts. Defense looked okay. Sonny Michel continued to look better. Josh Gordon had the big touchdown catch. Kyle Van Noy and Jason McCourty, strong games. Devin McCourty, not so strong in the game.
Julian Edelman also returned and had a pretty solid game of his own, apart from that one wide-open drop that he had early in the game. Other than that, he had a pretty solid game. Played a lot more than, or maybe not a lot more, but played more than I think both of us were expecting. He seems to be close to back to full speed out there, and a lot of what we were writing and talking about after the game was just kind of projecting forward what this Patriots offense could look like once Josh Gordon gets fully integrated and once Julian Edelman gets fully back up to speed, and assuming everybody stays healthy. This looks like a very dangerous offense, which is not something we were saying 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's
actually an interesting topic. So do we think by the end of the season Josh Gordon will be playing 90 to 100% of snaps in the Patriots offense, assuming he's still on the team, assuming everything's gone right? By the end of the season, will Josh Gordon be a starter and a starting contributing player?
Yes, I think if I had to make a prediction right now, just because we saw what Chris Hogan, Philip Dorsett, and Cordell Patterson kind of gave in those roles earlier in the season. Now, obviously, Patterson wasn't a starter, but he didn't show anything in his limited role that made us believe that he can become a starter. And Philip Dorsett outplayed Chris Hogan, and even Philip Dorsett was not a kind of game-breaking player. Mm-hmm. Josh Gordon can be a game-breaking player. He's already shown some game-breaking tendencies with that touchdown he had against the Colts. I think, as with all those caveats you mentioned, as long as he stays healthy, keeps his head on straight, doesn't have any unforeseen troubles with either off the field or in kind of learning the offense and getting along with his teammates, he's got more talent than anybody in this Patriots receiving corps, so I don't see why not.
I do agree with you. I think that I expected him to take another leap forward in Week 6. I think playing-wise he did. He had 2 catches in Week 4, 2 catches in Week 5. Did have the big touchdown in Week 5, but he played 18 snaps in each of those games, and I was expecting a little bit more progression there. But I do think that the reason why there probably wasn't progression was because it was such a short week. It was Sunday to Thursday. They only had 4 days of rest. So I think that this week, now with a Thursday game heading into a Sunday game, that's basically 10 days of rest. I think that we could see those snaps significantly increase. If they don't, though, then I'd say it's at least possible that Josh Gordon's going to be kind of a part-time player moving forward here, just because it is obviously a lot to ask a guy to completely learn the offense in such a short time period. But he is definitely more talented than any other receiver on this roster other than Julian Edelman, and Chris Hogan has really struggled. So I think that there's certainly an opportunity for him to leapfrog Chris Hogan on the depth chart. And that's another thing to talk about, is that if Gordon does eventually hit that starting caliber rate of snaps, you would expect him to be the X receiver, Julian Edelman to be the Z receiver in 2 receiver sets, the slot in 3 receiver sets. So who would be that Z receiver who's only on the field for 3 receiver sets? I think Dorsett probably fits that role a little bit better than Chris Hogan, but they each could fill it. I do think that Dorsett's just been a little bit better this season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, just look at the stats. He's been more productive than Chris Hogan. He's been more, I guess, reliable than Chris Hogan outside of that game in Detroit where he had no catches on 5 targets. But overall, he just seems to be more involved in the Patriots offense, which is not something that we expected coming into the season. And going back to Gordon for a second, it does seem like he's still kind of finding his legs in the Patriots offense. He did have a couple of incompletions the other day that looked like they were the result of just some sort of miscommunication, not being, or I don't even know if I want to call it miscommunication, but just not being exactly where Tom Brady thought he was going to be, which is to be expected from a guy who is still relatively new to this system. But I have found it interesting just to hear Tom Brady talk about Josh Gordon. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's mentioned multiple times that he has already kind of gained his trust, come into his circle of trust. He talked about both after the game and during his interview on WEI earlier this week that his touchdown to Josh Gordon, which was kind of a scramble play, Gordon called it like a sandlot football play, where he broke off his route, ended up going over toward the corner. Tom Brady threw it into double coverage, which shows that he threw it up there thinking that Josh Gordon going to be in that spot and 2 going to be able to bring it down, and he did, and it seems to have really kind of made an impact on Brady.
Yeah, definitely, and just having a guy who can make that kind of contested catch through double coverage is hugely valuable for the Patriots. I guess, Brandon LaFell could kind of do that for the Patriots, but the Patriots haven't really had a wide receiver who could do that type of thing since Randy Moss. Yeah. So just the fact that Gordon already is showing that potential, certainly a good sign. I thought the Patriots defense was fine in this game. I think that they did kind of let the Colts back into it a little bit, but the turnovers from the Patriots offense certainly didn't help matters either. I thought the strongest aspects of the Patriots defense, as I mentioned before, Kyle Van Noy continuing to make a lot of plays in the run game, continuing to make a lot of tackles near the line of scrimmage, and Jason McCourty's just been kind of a lockdown defender for the Patriots so far.
He's been really good.
Playing way better than we thought he had. And probably the weakest aspect was his twin brother, Devin McCourty, who I believe let up 9 catches on 10 targets, which included 2 touchdowns. He also made perhaps the play of the game when he stripped and recovered a fumble.
Defensive play of the year probably so far for the Patriots.
Yeah, over, who was it? Colts running back Jordan Wilkins.
Yes.
But, not the greatest performance from Devin McCourty, I'd say.
No, I'd say he was probably the biggest minus, I guess you could say, from this Patriots defense in this game. Eric Ebron really kind of worked him over in the secondary. I think Ebron finished with something like 9 catches for close to 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I think it was 100 yards.
100 yards, yeah, 109 maybe.
Yeah.
And Devin McCourty almost gave up a 3rd touchdown pass right at the end of the game, but I think that one was to Swope. He was called down on the half-yard line, so kind of bailed out Devin McCourty from a statistical perspective there. But, yeah, not the best game and not really what you want to see with a guy like Travis Kelce coming in this week, but I do think we'll get into the Chiefs a little bit later, but I don't think we'll see as much Devin McCourty on Travis Kelce as we did on the Colts tight ends.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Offensively, as I mentioned before, I thought that Sony Michel continues to make progress here. He had his best week of the season as far as yards after contact. I think he averaged like 3.37 yards after contact in this game, which is a much higher rate than he was averaging earlier in the season, and he's definitely getting better blocking, but he's also making do with what he's got on the blocking side a lot better. He did rip off kind of a long run there for a touchdown, so I don't know. I mean, the complaints about Sony Michel seem kind of far long ago. I guess I don't know what I'm saying right now. They were a long time ago. They feel a long time ago. There we go. Because now, I mean, he's basically on pace for a 1,000-yard season, which would be exactly what the Patriots would want out of a first-round running back.
Yeah. I mean, everything. It's basically just a continuation of what we talked about last week with Michel. Everything in that aspect is improving. He's running with more explosiveness. He's kind of making some more plays happen or he's, I guess you could say, kind of extending plays, turning maybe like a 5-yard carry into a 10 or 12-yard carry. He's also getting much better blocking up front. I think they're also using him in slightly more creative ways. There was a screen pass against the Colts that was a play design that I really liked. The Patriots had him and James White both on the field. They set up 2 screens to basically like a dummy screen to James White on one side, turned around, threw the ball to Sony Michel. He ripped off, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 yards down the right sideline. something that we haven't really seen him too involved in the passing game over his first couple of weeks. It's nice to see him kind of get a little bit more involved in that regard, and I think it just kind of shows that Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are now having more trust in him just as he continues to sort of build this body of work here. But yeah, I mean, the Patriots running game overall has been, I don't want to say fantastic. That might be a little bit of an overstatement, but Sony Michel had 100 yards against the Dolphins, had just short of 100 yards. I think he had 98 against the Colts, and James White has been fantastic in the passing game. So this is really exactly what you want from this running back core right now.
Yeah, and I think that Michel could continue to kind of make advancements, I guess, in the passing game. He's only been on the field for 6 pass block snaps so far this season. He's let up 2 pressures, which is not what you want to see. He's got the worst pass blocking efficiency, according to PFF, of any running back who has 6 or more pass blocking opportunities. So not ideal from that mark on Sony Michel. I don't know what just happened outside of this room that we're in right now.
Yeah, earthquake's going on here.
Either earthquake or someone like just ran into a wall or something. But no, I mean, I think that Michel's definitely starting to advance in the running game. Still would like to see a little bit more in the passing game. And it's interesting, the Patriots only played with 2 running backs in the game against the Colts.
Very surprising.
It was Michel and James White. They did since re-add Kenyon Barner for the 3rd time this season. The Patriots at least were in contact with Mike Gillislee, who was cut from the Saints, but I guess they chose to sign Kenyon Barner instead, which is kind of a surprise to me. I mean, Rex Burkhead is coming back after 6 more games, so whatever running back they have in there might just be a short-term option anyway, but Barner's just kind of an interesting choice for me to be that 3rd running back.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to have any sort of role on a game-by-game basis.
Right.
I mean, because the one game that he did play in was against the Dolphins a couple weeks back. Didn't return punts, didn't return kicks, didn't really get on the field much in offense at all until garbage time when he had a couple carries there while the Patriots were running out the clock. And considering that he's never really been an offensive player during his career, I mean, he has fewer than I think he has 80 carries in his entire career, something like 20 catches. So he's basically just been a return specialist throughout his career. The Patriots have shown that they really don't want to use him there. They'd rather use Julian Edelman back returning punts. They'd rather have Cordell Patterson returning kicks. So it seems like he's basically just a depth kind of insurance option at this point, which the Patriots did kind of need because, I mean, if White or Michel were to go down in a game, then you're left with one somewhat one-dimensional running back for the rest of that day. So you kind of need another body there. But, yeah, it is slightly surprising that they didn't go for someone that could maybe provide a little bit more pop there offensively.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, Barner can carry the ball between the tackles. I don't think that he's an ideal option for it since he's definitely on the smaller side at 195 pounds. And they probably, I would assume, like his pass catching ability, maybe his pass blocking ability in there. So if it did so happen that Sony Michel or James White went down, I guess he could kind of spell whoever it was. But now that Barner's on the team, I think the bigger concern is if Sony Michel went down with an injury because,
Yep.
I mean, I really don't think that it would be in the Patriots' best interest for Barner or White to be receiving, 15, 20 carries a game. James White's mostly been a 3rd down back throughout his career. He's got an extremely low 1st down percentage as far as his runs go. A lot of his carries have come on, 3rd and long on draw plays. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the Patriots do here moving forward, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was another move at some point for a running back because last year they went into some games with 5 active running backs, which is unbelievable. It was James White, Rex Burkhead, Deion Lewis, Mike Gillislee, and Brandon Bolden. And then for them to drop down to 2 last week is just kind of unbelievable.
Is a huge change. And kind of going along those same lines, does it concern you at all how much they're using Sony Michel, given those injury concerns? The fact that he has already missed more than a month earlier this year with the knee injury, the fact that he's still kind of getting used to the NFL game, he carried the ball 43 times over the last 2 weeks, 2nd most in the NFL, behind only Ezekiel Elliott down in Dallas. Is this too much of a workload right now for this guy? I mean, he does need to get the reps. He does need to kind of get his legs under him and improve. But they're kind of they're opening him up to a lot of punishment out there.
It is a heavy workload from a carries perspective, but he's not really playing a lot of snaps, so he's not getting the abuse on,
blocking
or maybe, running routes or whatever. And I mean, I actually didn't know this heading into this week. The Rams are using Todd Gurley on like every single offensive snap.
It's kind of insane, yeah.
Which is just crazy. So maybe teams are just deciding to use running backs a little bit different here moving forward, but there is an element with Sony Michel that, and he was a first-round pick. He does have a history of knee issues. He had a knee injury this summer, so maybe you just want to, use him as much as possible early in his career because he might not make it to that second contract as an NFL running back. So I don't know. I don't hate it, but if he gets injured, then obviously you would have to kind of doubt yourself a little bit.
Playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah. Let's get into the Chiefs matchup. This is probably the most intriguing matchup of the entire season for the Patriots.
Game of the year potential.
Definitely. It's funny because people keep talking about the Chiefs-Rams matchup that's going to be in Mexico this year.
That'll be fun, too.
That's going to be fun, but I mean, like, it's almost like people are just, like, breezing by the Patriots-Chiefs matchup, which I think will be just as fun because it's here in New England. Do you know what the line is on this game?
Pats by 3 or 3.5 last I saw, but that was immediately after the game on Sunday.
This is a game that Vegas at least is expecting the Patriots to win. So I think that makes it even more intriguing since the Chiefs are 5-0, the Patriots are 3-2. But I think so. After the Patriots game against the Dolphins, I was kind of talking about how good the Patriots defense played, and a lot of Patriots fans were like, okay, well, let's wait and see what they can do against the Chiefs. And I thought that was a little funny because it's like, okay, so let's see what they do against the best offense in the NFL. Like that's not really a fair assessment of a unit because everyone struggles against the Chiefs offense. Yeah, the Chiefs offense puts up a ton of points and a ton of yards against everyone. So expecting the Patriots defense to shut them down would be insane.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm interested to see what the kind of reaction out of this game is, no matter what. I mean, if the Patriots come out and lose 42-27 again like they did last season, then there's naturally going to be some discontent among Patriots fans. But if the Patriots win this game 38-34, is that a glaring indictment on the defense to allow 34 points to a team that is as explosive like this? I mean, obviously, if you shut them down, if you hold them to 20, 21, 24 points, then that's a big kind of feather in their cap. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what people kind of view. How people view this defense after this game.
I think it's fine. If they allow 34 points and come out of this game with a win, I think that's all you really need.
Yep.
If the defense can just, keep the Chiefs offense below the Patriots offensive point total, then that's really all you can hope for and all you can want out of this game. I think that if the Patriots defense starts hot, if they, come out of the gate shutting down the Chiefs a little bit, then a lot of the concerns about the Patriots defense will go away because I've found, as far as Patriots fans go, is that they care a whole lot more about the beginning of a game rather than the end of the game because no one was really complaining about the Patriots defense last week against the Colts. And, I mean, they allowed 24 points to a team that was pretty crappy on offense. I mean, had a bunch of injuries. Obviously, Andrew Luck's a good quarterback, but no one really seemed to care since the Patriots defense started out strong. So I think if they can do that, then that will put some concerns to rest for Patriots fans. But, I mean, I'm just urging Patriots fans to not really worry about how the defense looks in this game. If the Patriots can come out with a win, then that's really all they need to do in this game because the Chiefs offense, like I said earlier, scores points against everyone and puts up yards against everyone. So that's what you should probably expect heading into this matchup. But the Chiefs defense also is not great, so the Patriots offense certainly needs to, match the Chiefs offensive scoring.
Chiefs defense is not great. They rank near the bottom in most kind of defensive metrics that are out there. They've been really poor against the run. They're allowing 5.8 yards per carry, which is a full half yard more than any other team in the NFL. So obviously not good there, but they are coming off by far their best game of the season. They really just kind of destroyed Blake Bortles on Sunday. And yes, Blake Bortles is Blake Bortles, but Blake Bortles also put up 30 points against the Patriots and kind of tore their defense up just a couple weeks ago. So it is noticeable to see how well they played in that game. I think they had 5 takeaways, 4 interceptions, a pick 6, 5 sacks. So this is a defense that can make plays. They've given up a ton of yards. They've given up a lot of points this season, but they're not a unit that you can just go in and expect to kind of do whatever and move the ball up and down the field automatically. They have some good players over there. Dee Ford is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL right now. I believe he's second in total pressures behind Geno Atkins. He has 4 sacks this season. They've got some good players in that secondary. Kendall Fuller, a couple other guys in there. I don't expect the Chiefs to win this game with their defense, kind of which they were kind of able to do against the Jaguars the other day, who really, I don't want to say shut down Patrick Mahomes, but really limited him more than most teams have been able to this season. But I mean, it's not like this Chiefs defense doesn't have any players on their side. I don't think you can really kind of underrate them and count them out in this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think that the turnovers were huge in that game.
Yep.
The fact that
a lot of them were deep in the red zone too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of that is Jags offense just as much it is, if not more, than Chiefs defense. When you've got Blake Bortles
did not play well.
No, and I mean, if the Patriots turn the ball over 5 times, they are 100% losing this game.
Yep.
So, and I think they know that. Tom Brady's really been stressing not turning the ball over, winning the turnover battle. He's
been noticeably ticked off this week, even with the 2 turnovers that they had against Indianapolis, which kind of ruined 2 Patriots scoring chances. Brady said multiple times that they should have put 50 points on the board against the Colts, which they should have, because both of his interceptions, which one of which bounced off Chris Hogan's hands, one of which came on a pass intended for Rob Gronkowski that kind of got knocked out by a safety. Both of them came either near the goal line or at the very least in the red zone. So the Patriots are definitely looking to clean that up, and they've been uncharacteristically sloppy with the ball this season. I mean, they've turned the ball over 9 times already. They only turned the ball over 12 times all last season. Yeah. So they're really on a very un-Patriot-like kind of trend with these turnovers.
As far as Chiefs injuries go, it seems like Justin Houston probably won't play in this game. He suffered an injury on Sunday, right?
A hamstring injury, yeah.
Against the Jaguars. And then Eric Berry seems like
Eric Berry, who still has not played, I believe, since this game here last season, the Chiefs-Patriots game. He ruptured his Achilles in that game. It sounds like he's been kind of working his way back. I know he's been listed as doubtful, I think, for most of the games this season. But at this point, I mean, there's no real reason to expect him to play in this game.
Right.
We haven't heard any injury updates from Kansas City, so obviously we'll know more on that as the week goes ahead. But yeah, even though he's been out for a long time, still obviously one of the better safeties in the league.
Yeah, and I would say, as far as this matchup goes, I think it's going to be a close game. I think that 3-point line is probably accurate. If this game was in Kansas City, if this game was on a neutral field, I would probably be taking the Chiefs, but I do expect the Patriots to squeak this one out. I know it's pretty early to be making predictions on this game, but I think the Patriots offense hasn't clicked on all cylinders yet, and this might be the game that we finally see it happen, because Julian Edelman, like you said, against the Colts, looked good. He looked like himself. He was running all the same routes that he usually does. He looked quick on a punt return, looked quick on some runs after the catch. And Rob Gronkowski still hasn't, since week 1 had a real monster game, but I think that easily could be coming. The more that Josh Gordon gets involved, the more that Julian Edelman gets involved, I do think that some of the attention will be taken away from Gronk. And I think that, I don't know exactly how Chiefs have done against tight ends this season, but they don't have that one big weapon, I don't think, who can come out there and shut down a tight end.
That was Eric Berry.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I was kind of getting at. If Berry could play in this game, then I think that would be more possible. But if you're talking about them having to double team Gronk in this game, then there are a lot more weapons on the Patriots offense that the Chiefs then have to single cover. So I think that'll be difficult for them, and that'll be difficult for all teams moving forward here, with Edelman and Gordon kind of advancing in the offense a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the talk all week as we talk with players and coaches about the Chiefs, that, yeah, you can't double everybody on this team. They've got Travis Kelce, they've got Tyreek Hill, they've got Kareem Hunt, they've got Sammy Watkins. Patriots offense, while I wouldn't put them their caliber of weapons up to the Chiefs class right now, they're entering that same territory. I mean, as we mentioned before, if Julian Edelman continues to progress, if Josh Gordon continues to progress, there's going to be a situation where teams have to decide whether they want to take away Rob Gronkowski or take away Gordon or take away Julian Edelman, and then you still have James White and Sony Michel doing their thing in the backfield. So this offense is much more multifaceted than it was earlier in the season when Gordon wasn't here and when Julian Edelman was still suspended. And one more note on injuries, Chiefs injuries that you mentioned before. Their right guard, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, is most likely out for the season, I believe. He fractured his fibula, which means we will most likely see the glorious return of Jordan Devy to Gillette Stadium this Sunday night, which had me thinking the other day. Jordan Devy obviously was very much maligned when he was here. I would say for good reason. I think he might be the worst starting player in recent Patriots history that I can remember. A player that the Patriots actually singled out and said, we want to start this guy in this game. Not injury replacement.
To start the season, too.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, the Jordan Devy era seems so long ago.
It does seem a long time ago. It's actually unbelievable that he's still in the NFL at this point. Like, I don't know what he's been doing on the Chiefs, but maybe he's entertaining them with, like, his tuba playing or something.
I forgot about the tuba.
It's unbelievable that guy is still in the NFL. He played 6 snaps last week, I guess. Didn't allow any pressures, but okay, that's because they were all in run blocking. That would explain things. If I won't get in the Chiefs offense in a second, but I was actually just looking at who played in place of Justin Houston in that game last week, and it was Tano Passanwa and Breeland Speaks. Both those guys are kind of bigger players to be playing outside linebacker for the Chiefs, so I think that, if you can force them into space a little bit more, then that could be something that the Patriots could take advantage of. Maybe if you are running Sony Michel off the edge a little bit there, that could help. Maybe you could run some jet sweeps on that side, because I do think that Dee Ford's definitely been having a strong year as a pass rusher. He's been decent as a run defender, but I think that's certainly an area where the Patriots could attack if Justin Houston can't play in this game, which it seems like he can't. On offense for the Chiefs, I do definitely wonder how the Patriots choose to handle Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins for that matter, because Jason McCourty is I guess I'll start with Stephon Gilmore is both the fastest and the biggest cornerback on the Patriots roster. So maybe you want to put Stephon Gilmore on Tyreek Hill, even though he matches up better size-wise with Sammy Watkins, because Jason McCourty is a smaller cornerback on this team. I think he might have trouble at this point in his career keeping up with a guy like Tyreek Hill. But perhaps the Patriots could choose to put Gilmore on Watkins and then have McCourty on Hill, and then put Devin McCourty or Deron Harmon over top of Hill just to make sure that he doesn't get past the back of the defense. That's probably what I would choose to do. What do you think is the best course of action here?
Yeah, I think trying to single cover Tyreek Hill is almost too dangerous at this point. I mean, I was watching some of his highlights earlier today, and his speed and his quickness is just elite. I mean, it's far better than anyone the Patriots have in their secondary, except for maybe Keon Crossan, who's not going to be playing in this game anyway. And yeah, he's a guy where, I mean, defenses will try to match up one-on-one against him. If a cornerback just misses the jam at the line, he's screwed, basically, because you're going to see Tyreek Hill sprinting down the field and then either going straight and outrunning him, or if you see that cornerback turn his hips, try to run with him, he'll just stop his route, and Patrick Mahomes has the vision to be able to kind of hit him on those sideline routes or those quick deep curls, deep cuts, those kind of things. I think it's probably in the Patriots' best interest to, like you said, have maybe Jason McCourty on him plus a safety over the top. But then you are getting into the thing that we just mentioned, where it's kind of dicey to single cover Travis Kelce as well, and then Sammy Watkins, who hasn't been as productive as he probably should have throughout his career. He's having a pretty good season as well now that he's back from, I believe it was a hamstring injury that kept him out a couple weeks ago. And then you have Kareem Hunt, who obviously has pass catching ability out of the backfield. There are so many weapons in this Chiefs offense that it's really difficult to kind of to even handle them all. I mean, obviously the Patriots have this is where I think the long week here is really going to benefit the Patriots, because I mean, imagine trying to defend this Chiefs offense on a 4 days rest coming into a Thursday night game. That would be, I mean, pretty much impossible from what I can see. But Patriots have been doing this for a long time. Bill Belichick's been doing this for a long time. He's played against Andy Reid teams a lot. So I think the Patriots will scheme up something to at least limit the Chiefs more than other teams have been able to this season. But yeah, it's a tough matchup, especially Tyreek Hill. I mean, just with the speed and the athleticism, he's a pretty unique player.
I would probably put. I guess Jonathan Jones is another option to put on Tyreek Hill just because he's the fastest Patriots cornerback. But
you'll probably see some on him when Hill moves into the slot because they do move him around a lot.
I would probably put Jason McCourty on Tyreek Hill and then have probably Deron Harmon back there to help out over the top, which means I put Gilmore on Watkins. That would be a good matchup. I think that Patrick Chung is definitely the answer for covering Travis Kelce. He's not going to be perfect out there, but that's definitely your best option for covering a tight end. And then I'd have either Devin McCourty or one of the linebackers picking up Kareem Hunt out of the backfield just because Hunt's he's not Corey Grant. He's not, Nyheim Hines. I don't think that you need to focus Patrick Chung on Kareem Hunt coming out of the backfield as a receiver. I think that, other players on the Patriots defense can kind of handle that matchup a little bit better. So, I don't know. I think those are all pretty decent options to cover the Chiefs receivers, but I still expect the Chiefs to definitely come out firing and put up a ton of yards, probably a lot of points, and this is really going to be a shootout in this game. I think we're going to wrap this up. Any other final thoughts from you, Zach?
No, I think that just about does it.
I think it does for me too. So big thanks to Mike Reese for allowing us to use his room down here in the media workroom to record the podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Doug Kide. Follow Zach on Twitter at Zach Cox NESN. And keep it on NESN.com for all of your Patriots coverage.